This is Daily Armenia, ＳivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Armenia and Azerbaijan continue to be deadlocked over two provisions of a draft normalization deal between them, Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan told the press yesterday, according to Radio Azaduchun. Without providing details, he stated that the Armenian government is now analyzing Baku's latest response in order to formulate counterproposals. The two countries are now on the 12th draft of a potential treaty, with 2 of its 17 articles still yet to be agreed upon. Azerbaijan continues to demand both countries withdraw all international lawsuits filed against each other and to ban the presence of third-party monitors or troops on their shared border, a clear reference to the European Union's civilian border monitoring mission. Pashinyan has tried to show flexibility on these matters, for example proposing that the monitors could be withdrawn from parts of the border that have already been delimited, currently comprising a few miles near Kirans in the northeastern Tavus region. Azerbaijan has still not responded to a number of confidence-building measures proposed by Armenia, including the establishment of mutual arms control mechanisms and one for the joint investigation of border incidents. Also at issue is Armenia's constitution, which Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev says must be changed due to alleged territorial claims it makes on Nagorno-Karabakh, though both Armenia's leadership and constitutional court deny it contains any such claims. Pashinyan has tasked a committee with drafting a new constitution by next year, which will then need to be adopted through a national referendum. Armenia's opposition maintains that Aliyev is merely aiming to extract more concessions with no actual intention of signing a treaty, calling Pashinyan's policy one of appeasement. Several Armenian NGOs, including the Armenian General Benevolent Union, have issued a joint appeal urging an end to Azerbaijan's political persecution of Ruben Vardanyan, a philanthropist and briefly state minister of Nagorno-Karabakh. The appeal, addressed to the international community, condemns Vardanyan's detention and calls for immediate action to protect his rights. Other signatories include the Aznavour Foundation, Teach for Armenia, and the Armenian Legal Defense Fund. Vardanyan has been imprisoned in Azerbaijan alongside other Artsakh leaders since September 2023. He recently began a hunger strike to protest his treatment, citing coercion, violations of due process, and denial of a fair trial. His international lawyer, Jared Genzer, reported that despite Vardanyan's deteriorating health, Azerbaijan continues to force him to attend court hearings. Genzer and Vardanyan's son David, who are forbidden from visiting him, have called on world leaders and Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan to condemn the unlawful trial. The appeal highlights concerns that Vardanyan's case is part of a broader effort to criminalize Armenians who have supported Nagorno-Karabakh. It urges international intervention to secure justice for Vardanyan and other Armenian detainees, calling for an investigation into their mistreatment, independent judicial oversight, and pressure on Azerbaijan to uphold international legal standards. Echoing these concerns, Armenia's Human Rights Defender's Office has called for urgent action to protect the rights of Armenians detained in Azerbaijan. Citing alarming reports about the state of Vardanyan's health and alleged torture, the office emphasized that the legal proceedings against him and others grossly violate universal human rights principles and international legal standards. It urged all relevant international actors to take swift and appropriate measures to address the issue. Constitutional law expert Armen Mazmanyan has cautioned against adopting a new constitution in Armenia, warning that such a move could deepen the country's already severe social polarization. We're moving toward adopting a new constitution at the moment of the most extreme polarization in Armenia's history, said Mazmanyan, a lecturer at the American University of Armenia, in a recent Armenian language interview with CivilNet. Under such conditions, even the most brilliant idea won't have public trust. Mazmanyan emphasized that successful constitutions historically emerge during periods of public enthusiasm and spiritual awakening, not during ones of national division. He described Armenia as currently being in a phase of spiritual decline and extreme polarization. His comments come in response to Pashinyan's February 19th announcement about the need for a new constitution. Pashinyan claimed that all previous constitutional referendums have had a serious lack of legitimacy in the public perception. As previously mentioned in today's episode, the constitutional debate has intensified over the past year under pressure from Azerbaijan, which has made changing Armenia's constitution a precondition for normalizing relations. Mazmanyan revealed that the Constitutional Reform Committee, of which he was a member, had already presented reform recommendations to the government 2 years ago, including creating stronger checks and balances, limiting prime ministers to serving 2 terms, and enhancing parliamentary oversight. Proposals, he suggested, were met with resistance from those in power. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 93. That's because Armenia has been admitted as the 93rd member of World Lacrosse, the sport's international governing body. This will allow Armenia's national lacrosse team, which was co-founded by Canadian Hall of Famer Johnny Muradyan, to compete at the global level. Last year, the Armenian Lacrosse Federation held youth summer camps across the country to introduce the sport to a new generation of players. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.